Right, so hello guys, it's the year of 2019 and astonishingly nearly already the end of January. Actually terrifying how fast time goes, and what I wanted to do was give you guys a little heads up on where I am with the channel, and those of you who have been here for some time know that I like to do these little updates from time to time because I think that actions are better than words, but it's never a bad thing to just give a little clarification and mention some relevant things to kind of, just see where we are at the start of this year. Now 2018 was a pretty transformative year for the channel because I decided to move away from Armour, which I had been covering for maybe about 4 to 5 years prior to that. And I know that so many of you have asked me the reasons as to why I stepped away from Armour, and I did make a video about that actually, I don't know, 8-9 months ago, and I sort of stated about how I was kind of feeling a little burned out and maybe slow things down or change the style of that. But what actually happened was, I stepped away from the game. And just to restate the reasons, it primarily was burnout. I'd spent a long time playing the game, and honestly, I was just starting to become kind of less interested. It was, feeling very much the same issues. The way the players would handle the game was always the same. It was just kind of getting a bit boring, basically. Also, I was concerned about how much I had to rely on the assistance of others in order to properly run and operate the missions, and it's not just about like back-end stuff, it's also just the amount of people, the players for the missions. You've got to rely on people turning up and being there to participate, and that can be an issue as well. But I had really fantastic help from the guys in BSO at the time, but having my entire channel based around something that I had, so many moving parts became very stressful. I was continually worrying, like, what if this goes wrong? What happens if this goes wrong? What happens with that? And then forget about that. What about just the game itself? I mean, Armour there was so many times where Armour would just full on crash out as a game, server would crash, shocking FPS for no reasons, all sorts of weird bugs and problems. It's just, for all the benefits and the amazingness that is Armour, it's also just a massive pain in the arse. And then on top of that, the viewing numbers for the Armour series had kind of slowed down. It hadn't dropped off a cliff or anything, but it had slowed down over the previous 12 months, and I decided that the amount of time that it then took me to create, operate, edit, and post missions was just not a good enough use of my time. I also had seen that, of course, more and more of you guys in the audience have enjoyed my creative narrative projects, and this is something I decided I wanted to look more at in the second half of 2018, and you guys have responded in supporting me doing this so positively, so I'm very, very thankful and appreciative for that. What I hope to do is continue, of course, with this and more going through 2019. While we've been looking at, of course, 40k, which will continue, I also want to see what else I can bring to the table with similar narrative looks at maybe, say, overviews of game franchises, other series like Dread. An update for that is long overdue, so I need to get something squared away for that as well, and I have a pretty good idea what I'm going to do. I also want to have a look at talking about the actual tabletop gaming world when it comes to 40k, and maybe some other things, because again, I do have a feeling that many of you guys, of course, are interested in that, and I also know that many of you guys who comment say, I'm not interested really in the tabletop, but I love the videos. However, some of you, I get the impression, are kind of intimidated by or put off, or you feel like 40k is too expensive. Well, I'm going to talk about that very soon, because honestly, if you look at it the right way and you approach it in the right way, it is not as bad as you think, and we'll be looking at that soon. I'm going to do another video about a diorama soon, and again, depending on if you guys enjoy that, if it goes down well, we'll look at doing some more of that, and I said that we would, check some of these out. I want to potentially even showcase some models. Who knows, maybe even at some point I might get some kind of battle overview, a tabletop battle overview out, but that's not high on my priorities, but it's something that I would be interested, because I have a very specific idea about what I would do there. So these are all potential ideas, but my biggest issue is always time. It takes me a long time to bring together the stuff that I do, but I want to ensure that it is of a good quality and not just lazily bashed out to get some content up, because quality has always been something that's really important to me for the channel. I like my content to look good and feel good and be scripted well, so I try to ensure that I take the time to keep it consistent, and at the same time I want to up the workload so we just have more content for the channel going through this year. Now, I also am looking at some new sponsors for the channel which will help support me in what I do, and of course then allow me to produce content that you guys can enjoy and watch. And so I hope to deliver some nice things for you guys as well in terms of discounts and giveaways, and some more information about that and what's happening with all of this very soon. And to just follow on from that, I'll also mention that, of course, for the channel, I do have my Patreon, which many of you still choose to support me with your contributions, and I make a point to not continually mention the Patreon, because I always figure if you feel inclined to support someone, then you're just going to find ways to do that yourself. However, I also have people asking me often with the live stream or in comments, do I have a Patreon? So I should maybe make more of a mention of it from time to time in a small way. I'm going to be revising its structure soon as well to better suit where things are compared to where they were maybe a year or two ago. And just as always, a big thanks to all of you guys who support me there. But as always, the very best way to support me, or indeed any producer, is with just dropping likes on videos and leaving comments on videos. I've said before, I think people often don't realize how much that actually benefits a channel and a video, but it makes a very big difference. So every person's interactions help me as a producer to keep doing what I do. So when you're watching a video, don't think that just dropping a little comment saying love this, good work, or saying hate this video, you screwed up, you did a bad job, whatever. But leaving a comment actually assists the video in doing better, and therefore assists me and it assists the channel. So it's a good thing to interact with videos all around. It's the best way of helping a producer continue doing what they do. So the biggest question, of course, is what will happen with gaming content on the channel? Things like Battlefield, Squad, Postscriptum, and so on. Well, the honest truth is that for a long time I have pursued doing that style of content, and it has simply never really gained enough traction, well enough, or fast enough to really warrant the time that I spend on it. Yes, I do have some videos which from time to time will gain me like 50,000 views, 100,000 views, but by and large it's a lot less than that. And it doesn't mean that this kind of content is going to disappear from the channel entirely, but I do believe in listening to your audience and just looking at what is working. I still enjoy creating content about the gaming industry itself, so this is really going to be a bit of a fluid and an open question. But it honestly comes down to simply how much time I have available. Got to do what works for me and what works for the channel. And gaming videos themselves will be, to be honest, likely a secondary consideration for me going into at least the first half of this year. So we'll see what happens. I want to, for example, continue doing the Space Hulk series and then get that finished, because that basically got a huge pin put into it towards the end of last year when I started doing some other things. But it's possible that the gaming side of stuff is going to just become more primarily on the live stream than the YouTube channel. So, and just a reminder, I live stream 4 times a week on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and a Sunday. If you want to come and join in, guys, chat with me, chill out. We've got a great community there as well. Come and check that out. It's twitch.tv/Lutin, and the link is down below as always. So if you want to drop a follow there, then please do so. Now, there are plenty of things I would be interested to experiment with this year, like talking about, say, making terrain for tabletop gaming. I love making like little small elements of terrain to dot around your battlefields. So again, maybe that's some cool little thing I could turn into a series that could be interesting, or maybe even showcasing and talking about other tabletop games like 40k Kill Team, Necromunda. Maybe look at things like the new Resident Evil 2 tabletop game, see how that plays, get this stuff together, test it out, and then come back to you guys with a report about it. It could be just some kind of interesting things to do there. And I understand that these things are a pretty significant departure from anything that I've done before, but I'm just genuinely curious to see how that would be received here on the channel. Would it fall flat and be dead, or would people surprisingly really like it? I don't know, because I've never done it, so I'm interested to test the water and see what you guys like, and maybe you'll be surprised yourselves and find that actually, hey, I actually kind of like this, it's a bit different. And new things are never something to be scared of. The worst thing is stagnation, both creatively and just in content for you guys as well, not moving forward. So I want to be optimistic about this year. I want to cover things more like Dread, of course, other factions, other groups, maybe different corporations and different things in sci-fi worlds, maybe narrative overviews and breakdowns of game franchises like Myst and Riven, which is a big one I love, do some real cool stuff with that. I used to be scared, or perhaps I didn't feel it was worthwhile doing these kind of videos, because there are already, of course, other channels who cover such things, like where they look at maybe, one series, break it down, talk about it. But something I've learned over time is that an audience on your own channel want to hear your thoughts on something and your interpretations about that thing. How successful it could be here on the channel, I couldn't say until I try it out. So I have to see how things pan out with that again. But I'm genuinely excited for this year. I want to see where things take us. We will, of course, be continuing on with the content as per usual, and hopefully soon I'll be able to get back into a more steady rhythm of production. Already this week things have been going very well, and I would love to aim for at least one big lore video per week, but often the time taken to produce these is anything over 40 hours easily. I mean, it really sometimes surprises me just how much time it takes, but that's how much time to script and cross-reference and edit and basically just sort it all out. So a big thanks to you guys for the past year. I'm very eager to see if you guys engage and support with other content I test out this year. And you know, of course, ultimately that's your prerogative as the audience. And as I've said repeatedly, if you enjoy something, then engage to keep it and support it. If my channel moves toward being a narrative channel, not just for 40k, but other series as well, then so be it. I actually like that idea. I very much enjoy making this content despite the heavy amount of time it takes. And maybe my channel moves toward being the style where I put out only a few videos per week, but if those videos balance out for me in terms of views, then this is a format that will work for me. So as so many of you that have been here for a long time know, I always try to talk straight to you about this stuff, no bullshit, put the cards on the table, and you know, I hope you appreciate that, and I just try to give you a bit of insight as to kind of where I am, what's going on, and just like I say, a big thanks to all of you who continue to follow me and the channel and my live stream and other stuff. Please consider checking out my links below this video to follow me on Twitch, on Twitter. I live stream 4 times a week, like I say. Patreon is there if you want to have a look. As I said, I need to update this soon for this year. And a reminder that I use the YouTube community tab a lot lately, guys. It's such an excellent tool for connecting with you in the audience. I run polls on there. I post thoughts about my content, images, some sponsorship elements from time to time, and giveaways, things like this. So please check out the community tab because I've been using that more, and I think that's going to be a big thing this year. So that is where my head is at the start of 2019, guys. So I'm going to get back to work. If you have thoughts about anything I've discussed, please tell me in the comments, because I still read every comment from all of you guys. I think that's important as a YouTube producer, even though some of the times the videos that I have a massive amount of comments on, but I try to go through and check it all. So if you have thoughts about miniature painting, lore, narratives, overviews, reviews of game series and the gaming industry, how I cover these things, please ping it down below and I'll check it out. That's all, guys. I'll see you in the next one.